Hey everybody, welcome back to Everything MTG. My name is Justin. It's been a while since I made a video. We've been going through some surgery preparation for Amanda and things like that around here, so videos have been on the back burner, but since they've done some spoilers for the Guilds of Ravnica set, and boy are they spicy, I figured I'd jump on here and we'd cover them. So I think these were covered at PAX, so the official spoilers don't start for another week or 2 weeks. But they released some of these at PAX. I'm not going to be covering a couple of these cards because they're almost illegible, and I don't want to make any assumptions to what they are or aren't. And I'm actually going to be using MTG Goldfish for the spoilers this time around because that just happens to be the site that I'm on right now. So, keep it easy. Is there a buy box promo? What is it? Oh, Great Worm. Impervious Great Worm. Yeah, I think it's on here. Oh, it's actually... Is it not on here? Ugh, God. MTG Goldfish, you fail me. Well, I guess I'm linking to two different sites then. Okay, whatever. We'll use both. We're gonna pool our resources. Alright, let's get started. So, we've got Thought Erasure, which is 1 black and 1 blue for a sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. This has Surveil 1, which is a new mechanic for this set. Look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard. Not as good as Scry. Could be better than Scry if you're playing Reanimator. Or some sort of, get stuff back from the graveyard. Yeah, the fact that this is basically a Thoughtseize, but for 2... I mean, some people are saying this is playable. I'm gonna say it's playable. Why not? With that Surveil mechanic, it makes up for that 1 extra mana, so I think it's pretty good. Our next card is Boros Challenger. Red and a white for a 2/3 human soldier with Mentor. Mentor, whenever this creature attacks, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. You can pay 2, a red and a white, and Boros Challenger gets 1/1 until end of turn. Not bad. I mean, your typical Boros creature, honestly. 2/3 for 2 with Mentor and Pump. Pretty cool. We have Necrotic Wound, 1 black for an instant with Undergrowth. Target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. So this plays pretty nicely with Surveil. I guess they're going to work together pretty well, so you can ditch some creatures in your graveyard, play something like Necrotic Wound. I'm sure there'll be other cards in here, and get some pretty good value. So that's pretty neat. And for 1 black, that can be a really damning card, so that's pretty sweet. We have Sinister Sabotage, 2 blue and 1 for an instant, counter target spell with Surveil 1. So this is literally a strictly better cancel, which is amazing. I'm going to add that straight to my Brawl Commander deck. So that's pretty sweet. We're actually getting a reprint of Narcomoeba, which is hilarious. 1 blue and 1 for a 1/1 illusion with flying. When Narcomoeba is put into your graveyard from your library, you may put it onto the battlefield. Some of you may be familiar with the deck Oops All Spells, which is a turn 1 modern win deck or something like that. Amanda built it at one point. Fires off like 33% of the time, maybe up to 50% of the time. Narcomoeba is part of that, and it's hilarious. Our next card is Imara, Soul of the Accord. 1 green, 1 white for a 2/2 legendary elf cleric. Whenever Imara, Soul of the Accord becomes tapped, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Really not bad. I mean, I could see her being a commander. A 2/2 for 2. Pretty vanilla. But tapping her to create 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink is pretty good if you can get some sort of tap engine online to create another value engine that's maybe gaining you life or dealing damage. You put something on it that makes it tap, like deal 1 damage, and you can just keep pumping out creatures. It's pretty cool. And then the tokens have lifelink, which is great. We have Legion Warboss, which is 2 and a red for a goblin soldier. There's the mistake. 2/2 with Mentor. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. That creature token gains haste until end of turn and attacks this combat if able. I think that's a really great card. 2/2 for 3 is not super amazing. The fact that it has Mentor with the ability that it creates that goblin, though, is amazing. And it doesn't have to attack the Legion War Boss. The token does, unfortunately, but they work well together. If you make them swing in, but Legion War Boss could die pretty easily, so you'd have to find some way to give that unblockable. We have Quasi Duplicate, 2 blue and 1 for a sorcery. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. This has Jumpstart, which allows you to cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other mana costs, and then you exile this card. Strictly worse flashback, but for 2 and a blue to copy one of your creatures and then be able to do it again is pretty sweet. I'm not sad about that at all. Conclave Tribunal is our next card. 3 and a white for an enchantment with Convoke. If you're not familiar with the mechanic, your creatures can help cast the spell. Each creature you tap while casting the spell will pay for 1 colorless or 1 mana of that creature's color. So if you tap a 1/1 white soldier, you can pay 1 of the 1 white. Technically, this can cost you 0 if you tap enough creatures for it, so that's pretty sweet. When it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until Conclave Tribunal leaves the battlefield. This is literally Banishing Light. New Banishing Light. With Convoke, it's pretty sweet. So, I don't know if that... Well, let's see. No, it's an enchantment, so it would still have to be cast at sorcery speed, which is unfortunate. Yeah, Convoke's not going to allow you to override the sorcery speed mechanic of enchantments. Of course, it wouldn't be a Ravnica set without Shocklands. And also, people would have rioted in the streets if these Shocklands didn't show up, so it's a good thing they did show up. We have Sacred Foundry, which is a mountain plains. We have Overgrown Tomb, which is a swamp forest. We have Steam Vents, which is an island mountain. We have Watery Grave, which is an island swamp. If you're not familiar with what Shocklands do, they're some of the best lands in the game. When they enter the battlefield, you can pay 2 life. If you do not, it enters the battlefield tapped. If you pay the 2 life, it enters untapped. They are fetchable with fetch lands, and that's why they're amazing. They are starting to get fairly expensive, so it's nice to see them here. I would like to think that the price is going to go down, because people are going to buy the crap out of this set for these shocks. Much like the cons block, where the fetch lands tanked pretty hard because they saw a reprint there. Looking forward to that because I do not have a lot of shock lands, and I play a 5-color slivers deck, which feels bad, man, because it runs right 50% of the time. I borrowed my friend's full set of shocks and fetches. One time he let me borrow them for a couple matches, and the consistency of that deck went from 50% to 95%. But they're so dang expensive. I mean, I think it'd take me about $500 to buy all the fetches and the shocks I need, and literally one of the fetches is $100 of that, or like $80 of that. I haven't checked recently. Last time it was like, excuse me, last time it was like 85. So that sucks. But this is awesome. It's great to see these reprinted here. I'm sure they're going to reprint the rest in the other upcoming Ravnica sets. Our next card is Underrealm Lich, which is 3, a black and a green for a 4/3 Zombie Elf Shaman. It's a mythic. If you would draw a card, instead look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put 1 into your hand, put the rest into your graveyard. You can pay 4 life, and Underrealm Lich gains indestructible until end of turn, but you have to tap it. This card is amazing, if you ask me. I think it's really good. The fact that you can make it indestructible, kind of like a Dante Vanguard. It's basically a Dante Vanguard, except it makes it tapped. Sucks. But you can block with it and then pay the 4 life and then tap it, so it's totally irrelevant. And whenever you draw a card, look at the top 3, put 1 into your hand, put the rest in your graveyard. If you're playing Reanimator, this is amazing. A Brainstorm or a Ponder every time you draw a card is absolutely insane. So I'm liking that card a lot. We also have our first Planeswalker spoiled of the set, which is Ral. Is it Viceroy? Look, our boy Ral Zarek is back. 3 colorless, red and a blue for a 5 loyalty Ral, legendary Planeswalker. +1, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, and the other into your graveyard. Not bad. -3, Ral Is It Viceroy deals damage to target creature equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards you own in exile and in your graveyard. That's amazing. Especially with the other mechanic. Jumpstart's going to throw a bunch of that stuff into your graveyard when you discard cards, so that's really going to activate great for him. And Surveil is going to fill up your graveyard. That's amazing. I mean, a lot of this plays well together, really well together. And with the Undergrowth mechanic, you have to uh, exile cards and things like that. Well, you'll exile your opponent's stuff. I'm sure they're going to come out with more stuff. And then if you're playing something, you know, Commander, because I'm a Commander player, I have to look at this from a Commander view. If you're playing Commander and you play like Dig Through Time and you exile, you know, or is it Treasure Cruise, whichever one it is, and you exile like 5 cards to make it 5 cost cheaper, and you can use Ral's -3 ability. That's amazing. His -8 ability is an I win the game ability. You get an emblem with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target, and you draw 2 cards. Boy, that's not OP at all. So if you manage to ultimate him, you're winning. Not much more to say than that. The last thing I'm going to cover is a high point of contention with many players, and that is what are they calling these? Planeswalker masterpieces. All right, so we have 8 planeswalkers that are full art, no border planeswalkers from Magic's history, although most of it is recent. I think 2 of them. Yeah, 2 of them are not very recent that they are printing, but they're not lottery cards like you would pull from Battle for Zendikar or Aether Revolt. These are going to be from a set called Guild of Ravnica Mythic Edition, which if you buy this, you get 16 boosters and 8 masterpiece boosters. Now it says here they'll contain a complete set of 8 masterpieces with an MSRP of $249.99, and it's only available from the Hasbro Toy Shop starting on October 3rd. So the way I read this is you're going to get it says which will contain a complete set of 8 masterpieces. When I hear complete set, I hear play set of each, but I can't possibly believe that's right because the market would get flooded so quickly with these. These things would literally be worth nothing. But a lot of players, myself included, aren't very happy about this, that they're not supporting their LGSs, and the fact that they're putting it behind a $250 paywall is ridiculous. Not to mention, we have a problem here with investing, you know, Wolf of Wall Street investing going on in Magic the Gathering. And I do a little of that myself, but I'm not the kind of guy that's going to literally go onto the Hasbro toy shop and buy 100 of these and then shill people for $800 on eBay. Oh, and there's plenty of people that'll do that. So, you know, it really sucks. This is basically from the vault with a big FU for the price tag. The cards, though, are amazing. They look generally really good. We have Elspeth Knight Errant, which is a very old Planeswalker. I actually think that's her first iteration, and we've seen a couple iterations since. We have Liliana the Last Hope, one of the better Liliana cards. Tezzeret Agent of Bolas. Honestly, I don't even know what he does. I don't care. He's an artifact guy. I don't do artifacts. Duretti Ingenious Iconoclast. I don't care about that either, but I know he's amazing for artifacts, so that's cool. We have Nicole Bolas Planeswalker. Surprise, guys, another Nicole Bolas. This one's a reprint, but different art, so that's really cool. And then we have Ral Is It Viceroy, which is the new one that they just spoiled. And we have Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. So Teferi and Liliana the Last Hope are actually quite expensive, and with this altered art, they're going to be worth even more, which is pretty sweet, but you're still not going to make your $250 back for buying this, and it kind of sucks just as a shelf piece, and I personally wouldn't want to play with them if they're so expensive, but that's just me. I mean, if you want to bling out your commander deck or something, that'd be really cool. Now, apparently there is going to be an 8th one, but they have not spoiled that yet, so they're saving that for the spicy final. A lot of people are thinking it's possibly going to be Vraska because she's part of the newest set somewhere, somehow, and we seem to be missing a Jace. Maybe they're going to throw a Jace the Mind Sculptor in there and laugh all the way to the bank, right? I mean, that's one good way to get people to buy this, honestly. Jace the Mind Sculptor, it's like, what, $70? Might be a little less now that they reprinted. Anyways, that's basically it. I did forget to, even though Amanda reminded me, I did forget to cover the buy a box promo. As you guys may be aware, buy a box promos have also had some contention recently with things like Nexus of Fate, where the only way you can get it is to buy a box, and it's actually a 4 of in a top tier standard deck. So how do you like that? Jumped up to like $40. I think it fell back down to 17 or something like that, but that's still ridiculous because the only way you could get it is from buying a box. And at this point, the card is not able to be given out as a buy a box promo anymore because they are out of supply of that. So there's a very limited supply of them in the market. People are playing 4 ofs, and bad idea, right? Bad idea. Anyways, this one is Impervious Great Worm, which is another mistake they've made, kind of like Nexus of Fate, because this card is really, really good, in my personal opinion. It is 7 and 3 green for a 16/16 worm with Convoke with Indestructible. So a 10-drop 16/16 with Indestructible, honestly, that's not bad right there. But you're like, oh, well, you're never going to get to play that until you Convoke it out on turn 4 or turn 3. Yeah. So, I mean, I'd play the hell out of that. But the fact that they've made that a buy box promo, I'm beginning to wonder if Wizards is like doing this on purpose. But they're really going to start pissing off their player base. So I don't agree with it. They need to make it available in the regular sets, but maybe with like an altered art or something as the buy box promo would probably be the right way to go with that. Anyways, guys, that's the wrap up for today. I'll be back covering the rest, a week or 2 weeks from now whenever they come out with all the other ones. I'm super excited for this set. I like what they've spoiled already. Of course, Shocklands. I'll be buying a box of it to open up on the channel for you guys to enjoy me literally pulling not a single Shockland probably. So that'll be fun for everybody, including my pocketbook or wallet, as it were. Anyways, guys, that covers it. We'll see you right here next time on Everything MTG. Peace out.